The movie opens in a house where a couple is getting ready for work while listening to a news report about a detective who went missing while investigating a brutal crime. The scene cuts to their garage, where a masked man is wrapping duct tape around the head of an unconscious teenage girl and chaining her legs to the back of both cars. Unaware of what's happening, the couple heads to their vehicles and drives off, dragging the now conscious girl behind them. As they near the end of the driveway to go in separate directions, the woman spots the girl and tries to warn the man, but he can't hear her because he is listening to loud music and keeps driving. During the opening credits, various news reports highlight a global crisis. The internet is being hacked, and personal data is no longer safe. One report tells of a special ops soldier who was captured and tortured by terrorists after they tapped into his cell phone. Next, we meet two best friends, Jesse and Rachel, chatting on the phone about a guy Rachel has a crush on. When Jesse asks about the guy she found online, Rachel tells her that he is not who he claims to be and even sends her a chain message. Jesse tells her to be careful about trusting people online, and after the call ends, it's revealed that someone is secretly watching Rachel from outside her house. The next day at school, Rachel meets up with her friends, Johnny Jones, Michael, the guy she has a crush on, and Dante, who secretly likes Jesse. In the lecture room, the students listen as their professor, Mr. Smirker, shares his concerns about the internet. While many believe it brings more good than harm, Mr. Smirker disagrees, warning that in today's world, the internet can do more harm, especially since anyone can stalk or track you online. That night, Rachel's brother, Neil Connors, is playing a game on his computer when he suddenly receives an anonymous chain letter via email. The message claims he is the first link in the chain and must forward it to 5 people, or he'll die. Moments later, Rachel enters his room, asking to use his computer since hers is frozen. She ends up forwarding the same chain letter, but only to 4 people, and when Neil realizes what she is doing, he kicks her out. To finish the chain properly, he adds Rachel as the 5th recipient and sends it. Johnny receives the chain letter but finds it ridiculous and deletes it without a second thought. At a game shop, both Jesse and Michael also receive the chain letter on their phones, but Dante doesn't. He doesn't have a phone, and Jesse tells him to check his computer when he gets home. She then excuses herself to use the bathroom and receives a message from an unknown number warning her not to look back. As she walks down the hall, she sees a hooded man ahead, but he simply turns and walks away. Later, during gym class, Johnny hears the sound of chains clinking. Just then, he is startled by his workout partner, Kelvin, who also mentions getting the chain letter. However, Kelvin laughs it off and deletes the message before leaving early due to a personal emergency. Minutes later, Johnny hears strange noises outside the gym and calls out to Kelvin, but there is no response. As he starts his workout, he suddenly feels dizzy and walks over to the water fountain. Out of nowhere, a black hooded figure appears and slams Johnny's head against the fountain 3 times, knocking him unconscious. The figure then chains Johnny's arms to a gym machine and slices across his ankles. Using the chains, the killer brutally slashes Johnny's face open, killing him. At home, Dante checks his computer and finds the chain letter. Thinking it's a joke, he deletes it. At the same time, inside the hooded figure's lair, revealed to be the chain man, Kelvin is shown tied up in chains, alive but helpless. The next day, Detective Jim Crenshaw, his partner, and a team of Carlson police arrive at the gym to investigate Johnny's gruesome murder. Jim suspects that Johnny might have been involved in something dark that led to his death, but his partner defends him, insisting Johnny was a good kid with no history of trouble. They find no useful clues, only the chains used in the killing, and Jim's partner points out that the chains don't belong to the gym, and no one recognizes them, raising more questions about where they came from. At Johnny's funeral, Jesse, Rachel, Neil, and Michael attend to pay their respects. After the ceremony, they are approached by Detective Jim Crenshaw, who asks if Johnny had any enemies or if anything unusual had happened in his life recently. They all reply that nothing seemed out of the ordinary, and Jim then gives them his phone number, telling them to contact him if they remember anything that could help with the investigation. Meanwhile, Dante heads to the workshop where his car is being repaired, hoping to impress Jesse once it's fixed. Sitting inside the car, he practices what he will say to her when the time comes, and just then, the chain man passes behind him. Dante notices something dripping from the engine, which is suspended by chains. As he inspects inside the hood, he is startled by the shop owner, and in that moment, it happens. At police headquarters, Detective Jim asks his partner if there's been any news about Kelvin's whereabouts, but she says there is still no sign of him. News of Johnny and Dante's brutal deaths, along with Kelvin's mysterious disappearance, spreads across the internet. Due to the rising death toll, Brickman High School, where they were all students, was closed for several weeks, but it has now reopened. News reporters urge the public to come forward with any information that could help the investigation, asking anyone with knowledge about the killings to speak up. At school, noticing how shaken Jessie is, Mr. Smirker gently tells her to take her time with the class project. He also offers a listening ear, letting her know she can talk to him anytime if she needs to. At home, Jessie tries to focus on her project, but she's clearly disturbed by the recent deaths of her friends. Meanwhile, Detective Jim visits a secluded area known for its blacksmithing. Inside a barn, he finds various types of chains, but none match the one used in Johnny's murder. He then visits a local man, Mr. Bradford, hoping to get answers. Mr. Bradford recognizes the unique chain design but can't recall where it was originally made. Jim gives him his phone number, asking Mr. Bradford to call if he remembers anything about the chain's origin, then walks away to continue the investigation. Back at home, Jessie begins to suspect that the chain letter they all received might be connected to her friends' deaths. She starts researching online and comes across a disturbing website detailing cases of people who were killed after receiving the same type of chain letter, a deadly curse that has been ongoing for over 20 years. Fearing that Rachel might be the next target, Jessie quickly calls her cell phone, but Rachel doesn't answer. She's in the bathroom, taking a bath. Growing more anxious, Jessie calls Neil, who is hanging out at a game shop. She urges him to rush home and check on Rachel, insisting that something might be seriously wrong. While taking a bath, Rachel hears the sound of chains clinking and becomes suspicious of an intruder in the house. Wrapping herself in a towel, she cautiously steps out to investigate, only to be ambushed by the chain man. He lashes her with a chain as she desperately tries to escape, and she rushes back into the bathroom, locking the door behind her. She searches for something to use as a weapon, and leans her face against the door to listen. However, she realizes the killer is on the other side doing exactly the same thing. Suddenly, the chain man crashes through the side wall of the bathroom and kills her by hitting her with the toilet lid. Shortly after, Detective Jim and the Carlson police arrive at the scene, with Jessie, Neil, Michael, and others visibly shaken. When questioned, Jessie finally tells the detective about the strange chain letter they all received. Now taking the theory seriously, Detective Jim asks her to forward him the chain letter for further investigation. At the police headquarters, Detective Jim meets Detective Wiggins, a recent transfer who is also working on the chain man case. Wiggins asks Jim for his thoughts, and Jim shows him the chain used in the murders. He says that tracking where the chain was made might lead to a breakthrough, and during their talk, Wiggins suggests that the killer might be anti-technology. He takes a case file from Jim's office, saying he'll dig into it and try to uncover new clues. Meanwhile, Jessie continues researching the chain letter and discovers that it is embedded with a virus that allows the chain man to spy on people and track their locations. She calls Neil and Michael to share her findings, and the three meet in a secluded spot. Jessie explains how the virus works and how the killer has been watching them. Feeling guilty for sending the letter first, thinking it was just a joke, Neil blames himself. Tensions rise, leading to a heated argument and a brief fight between him and Michael. Jesse breaks up the fight and tells Michael that the only way to survive is to forward the chain letter within 24 hours. That night, Neil begins receiving the letter from more people and become more frightened. Instead of forwarding it, he deletes all of them, determined to confront the killer for murdering his sister. However, the chain man who is hiding on Neil's roof drags him up using a hook attached to a long chain, killing him. Jesse calls Michael and urges him to forward the letter to her, then immediately get a new email and phone number, believing this might stop the killings. At the police headquarters, Detective Jim receives a call from Mr. Bradford, who finally remembers where he saw the chain before. He explains that there used to be a place on Ramsey Road where a man named Wilson worked before going off to war. Wilson supplied chains to a meatpacking plant, but after the plant shut down, the business folded too. Detective Jim drives to the location and finds an old warehouse filled with chains, which turns out to be the chain man's hideout. Inside, he discovers Kelvin, Johnny's workout partner who went missing the same day Johnny was killed. Kelvin is wrapped in chains and desperately pleads for Jim's help, and then, everything changes. Detective Jim calls for backup, but to his shock, he is informed that the police department's entire security system has been hacked. He also learns that the man they believe to be Detective Wiggins is actually an imposter. The real Wiggins is already dead. The imposter is revealed to be Mr. Smirker, the teacher from Brickman High School, who has been secretly operating as part of a dangerous cult that formed in the 20th century. The cult, known as the Technology Terrorists, is violently anti-technology and believes modern devices strip away individual identity. As Detective Jim tries to make sense of everything, he is suddenly attacked and knocked unconscious by the chain man. Meanwhile, Jesse decides to forward the chain letter to Detective Jim, then smashes her phone and disconnects from the internet completely. Michael tries to reach her, but her line isn't going through. That night, she is jolted awake by a call coming from her damaged phone, and just then, Chain Man attacks her, but it turns out to be just a nightmare. The next day, the horrifying truth is revealed. The teenage girl seen chained between cars at the beginning of the film is actually Jessie. She was captured because she only forwarded the chain letter to Detective Crenshaw, not to the required 4 people. Michael races to save her, but he is too late, and as Jessie's father pulls out of the driveway, Jessie is ripped apart. It's revealed that the man behind the killings was once a soldier. During the war, he was captured and brutally tortured by the enemy, all because he was carrying a government-issued cell phone. The ordeal left him severely disfigured, both mentally and physically. After returning to the US, he escaped from a hospital and vanished without a trace. Consumed by his hatred for technology, he started a cult of anti-technology extremists, each member marked with a barcode tattoo, symbolizing how technology erases individual identity. In the final scene, Detective Jim Crenshaw is seen chained to a metal table inside the killer's hideout, helplessly watching as the chain man methodically forges new chains. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Chain Letter from 2010. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.